Tree Talking Time is brought to you by Coon Branch Outdoors. Get all your hound hunting needs at coonkeys.com. Welcome to Tree Talking Time, where we talk all things tree dogs, from the smallest fights to the largest hounds, treating squirrels to bears and everything in between. And from time to time, we might even run a little fast game.
Only time I ever been truly scared when I was coon hunting. Well, me and my brother Grant, he's also a professional baseball player.
Mm-hmm.
He's just got traded to Milwaukee Brewers the other day.
Okay.
Well, anyways, we had a old black and tan dog named Jack, and I had a blue tick pup. I call him a pup. He's probably about a year old. He had already started, training coons and whatnot. Well, we got a spot that we hunt, and it's real marshy. Like the guy that owns it, his name is Jay Bruce. He played 16 years in the big leagues, and he's also from where we're from.
Okay.
And he's got it set up to duck hunt. So you can imagine how much water is in there. And they grow by, in the first 200 acres. And anyways, it's a nice spot for duck hunting. But he has some marshy woods on there, and just chock full of coons. Well, on this one stretch of it, there's a bayou that runs through there. And this particular night, it was about this time of year, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and freezing cold. Our dad come with us, but he was just sitting in the truck. He's older. He can't walk around as much on the coon hunts anymore, especially not a place like that. So old Jack and my blue dog Savage, they get treed across that bayou. Well, we get over there at the edge of it, and all that marsh grass and cattails and everything had folded over because it's so cold, and it looked like you could walk across it, almost. And it looked like the water from the bayou started out further than where it actually did. So, in our youth, we decided, we're going to try and get over there to them dogs. We start walking, and that marsh grass and everything was still thick enough. We got out there 20, 30 yards away from the edge of the woods, the bank, and we're still walking. Well, our first mistake was we stopped. And when we stopped, because we saw where the water looked a little deeper, wasn't as much stuff covering, so we were kind of scouting a way across. Well, my legs started feeling real cold. And I looked down, and I'm about knee deep in some thick, marshy mud. It's like quicksand.
Mm-hmm.
And instantly, Grant did the same thing. And I said, man, this ain't good. And I don't know if you ever walked 30 yards in a bayou, basically a marshy swamp like that.
Can't say I have.
So you start sinking fast. So, and, we're weighted down. We got all our coon hunting gear on and all that stuff like that, and hip boots, all that. And I kid you not, we got maybe 10 yards from the bank, and all I had up above was my shoulders, my neck, and my head.
Oh, geez.
And the gun, I had a 22 in my hand. I had a 22 rifle in my hand. I had it above my head, and I was just close enough. And Grant was behind me; he was further in it still. And by the grace of God, there was one little sapling right there. And I grabbed it, and I turned around and reached my arm out, and Grant grabbed my other arm, and we pulled and pulled. And he's sitting there saying, "Hey, no, I don't think we're gonna make it. I don't think we're gonna make it." And I said, "No, we'll be all right. We'll be all right." And eventually, we pull ourselves out of it. I mean, just covered in freezing cold water and mud. Dogs still trees. Well, we walked another 300 yards back to the truck, and all my dad had to say was, "Them dogs are trees. What y'all doing? You gotta get over there to them dogs." And I said, "Man, I said, look at us. We just went almost neck deep in a bayou. And all you care about is them dogs." He said, "Well, man, they did their job. You got to get over there and get to them." So we built a little fire and dried out. Eventually, we got the dogs and everything like that. I didn't even check the tree. We were so tired and wet by the time we got over there. We just said, "All right, let's load them up and get out of here."
Never mind, you guys almost just died. You guys...
Yeah, literally. Didn't even say, like, "Are you all right?" He just said, "Man, you got to get over there to them dogs and dogs tree. What are y'all doing? Don't you hear them dogs?" But yeah, that was the only time I actually have ever genuinely got nervous when I was coon hunting that I was in danger.
Yeah, I've heard a few stories. Water is super scary, especially at night. You know, we wear
Yeah,
hip boots. You know, everything
yeah,
we wear drags us down, and I've heard some pretty
absolutely.
scary stories after dark coon hunting and getting into water.
Yeah, it was not my favorite experience, but
For
it's a good
sure.
story. So
Yeah. Well, you introduced your brother, but why don't you introduce yourself?
okay, my name is Aidan Anderson. I'm from Beaumont, Texas, down here right on the edge of the Louisiana border.
Mm-hmm.
I play professional baseball. I'm currently with the Texas Rangers organization in AAA, and I have been in pro ball since 2019. I started my career in the Philadelphia Phillies organization.
I
Made it
know
up to
that.
Double A with them.
When you were
And
up
then
here, we were going to try and get together, and it just didn't work out.
yeah, it didn't quite work out. But I did get to see that part of the country, and you know, I come to find out there's not hardly any coon hunters in professional baseball.
Shocker.
But yeah, shocker. And I got to see that part of the country, and coming from where I come from, small town, down here, not everybody gets to travel the country doing what they love to do, and I got to see that neck of the woods. I'd never seen Amish people before,
Yeah,
and
we got lots
I
of
got to see
Amish.
a lot of that. And I had the idea that Pennsylvania was Philadelphia, and I was extremely wrong. I did not realize how rural the state of Pennsylvania is.
Oh yeah,
And
once you get out of the city, it can be.
oh yeah, and it's in the history there. I have when I went to college, I played baseball at McNeese State University in Louisiana. I have a degree in history.
Okay.
And one thing I loved about that neck of the country is that it's full of history.
Oh,
I mean,
sure.
it's so old, and they had like those covered bridges we'd go out and see, and it was beautiful. It really was, and I really enjoyed my time up in that part of the country. And it's crazy. You see the contrast between when we're playing those cities, and then we're on. We have an off day and we go driving around, and how close in proximity they might be to like a Reading or some of those places like right outside of Reading.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy the difference, and like you're talking about a matter of minutes.
Oh,
and
yeah.
But it was really interesting, and like I said, I would have probably never gone up to that, the Northeast if it wasn't for baseball. And and then I found out there was a decent amount of coon hunters in Pennsylvania also, and so it just kind of shows you the history of coon hunting itself and how far it's spread across the country now. After 180 years, 200 years, and like I said, it just kind of gave me a decent appreciation for all that, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say that you guys are kind of on the western edge of most coon hunting, and I'm on the eastern side of most coon hunting.
Yeah, yeah.
And you get much further west than you guys, and there's not too many coon hunters.
Not hardly. I mean, even just 3 hours from here in College Station, Texas, that area, there's a few, but you really, if you're on, most of them that are in Texas are going to be on the East Texas, kind of like right close to Louisiana, like we are.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to find a coon hunting buddy down here because there's not a lot of guys that do it anymore.
Yeah, I'll be down in Texas about this time next month.
Oh, okay.
For a big coon hunt. So.
Which one is that?
For the Joy Super Hunt.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, they just had the Lone Star, I'm pretty sure, the other day down here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Lone Star 5000, big PKC hunt.
Yeah, unfortunately, with the way that professional baseball is, we have not gotten to me and my twin brother Grant have not gotten to competition hunt. My older brother and my older sister competition hunted growing up, and then and my dad competition hunted forever. So we got to go to some of the hunts when we were younger, but we started playing baseball, and that kind of took over. So we didn't get to we didn't get to do the competition because when the competition hunting was going on is whenever the baseball tournament was going on. So
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, since we're talking kind of baseball, I'm not a big baseball person. So, what's your season look like for baseball? How does that, how does coon hunting and baseball merge together here?
Well, they really don't merge together, unfortunately. Like I said. So the way it works, when you get to professional baseball, anyways, is you will go to spring training, which some guys report at different times. Just kind of depends on how long you've been in the org. Like if you're an older guy in the minors, for example, me, I've been doing it since 2019. I report in February.
Okay.
Most minor leaguers will report in March, like the first couple of days of March. And you do spring training from essentially the middle of February until the last couple of days of March. And then your season will start around like the 3rd to 5th of April. And then you play every single day. If you're in the minor leagues, you play every single day except Mondays up until almost the end of September.
Wow.
So you're gone for quite a big chunk of the year. Luckily, I get home right whenever deer season's about to open up, so it doesn't interfere with that for me. And for us down here, it stays hot for most of the year.
Oh, yeah.
So I really don't miss a whole lot of prime time coon hunting season because, like I said, down here a lot of guys, they might go in the summer 1-2 nights a week just because you're talking about 102 degrees at night and you don't want to burn your dog up and
oh, yeah,
do anything that's gonna affect your dog and let alone yourself. I mean, because it gets hot in there when you're walking as much as you are and exerting that kind of energy out there. And but we typically like I said, we'll play until September. If you make the playoffs, then you'll play another 2 weeks longer. If you go all the way to the championship, you'll play another 2-3 weeks.
Okay.
The big leagues, they go, the playoffs goes all the way until the World Series in the beginning of November. So, like my brother Grant, his rookie season in the big leagues in 23 with the Rangers, they won the World Series. So he didn't get home until, second, third week of November, essentially. So, he's talking about being gone for almost 8-9 months out of the year. And like I said, you play every single day. The big leagues, they don't have the set off day of Monday. They have just scattered throughout the year. So you're literally playing every single day. Once you leave the house to go to spring training, you're pretty much going to play baseball every single day for the next 6 to 7.5 months.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's a lot. It's a long process, and it's a long process to get through the minor leagues up to the major leagues. But I've been blessed to be able to play the game as long as I have and get as far in it as I have.
Yeah.
And so like I said, it takes a lot. You're gone a long time, and like me, I have my wife and I have a 2-year-old daughter. Sometimes you don't see them for a couple of weeks. Like you go on a 2-week road trip, and they don't travel with you.
Yeah.
Then you're not going to see them for a couple of weeks at a time sometimes, and so it's a lot for everybody involved. And thankfully, we have a great support system, and my parents and her parents are willing to help us out whenever she wants to take a night off. They'll drive up and watch the baby and all kinds of stuff like that. And like I said, I'm blessed to have that support system that we have. So,
for sure.
But I usually start coon hunting as soon as I get home.
Okay.
So in September, it's a little bit cooler, still kind of hot, but that last month of the season, you start hearing them dogs in your sleep, and so I get pretty excited towards the end of the season. Not necessarily because baseball's about to be over, but because I know I'm gonna get to go home and hunt and enjoy the outdoors.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much how it works for us.
Something my wife mentioned, and I honestly hadn't even put that together, was I was telling her that you and your twin brother both play professional baseball, and she was like, "What are the odds of that?" Like that's
very. Yeah, it's very, very low.
Yeah. I mean, for one, just there's not a lot of twins probably yet alone both of you making it in, into professionally.
Yeah,
So.
and it's been it's a little different, like I said, there's been several there's brothers that play,
Mm-hmm.
Scattered throughout pro ball and stuff like that. But there's been a few sets of twins. I only know of one pair, two pair that have made it to the major leagues.
Okay.
And only one pair that I know of that have played on the same team together.
Gotcha.
And they're currently in the big leagues right now, the Rogers twins. But yeah, it's different. Like I always tell everybody though, like we don't think of it, because that's just my brother, and
Mm-hmm.
it don't even cross my mind. And then people mention it, and they're like, "Hey, yeah, it's crazy, both of y'all are twins,
Yeah.
both of y'all are in professional baseball." And when you sit there and think about it, it is kind of weird. But
Mm-hmm.
for us, it's just never really been something that crossed my mind. Just because, like I said, it's just what we've done forever, and
Mm-hmm.
we both do it, and that it is what it is. But it's been a blessing too, because baseball is a game of failure, and you're going to fail a lot. And if you got a person that is just like you that does it, and he happens to be your twin brother, and you can talk with him, and to encourage each other, and sometimes you get pretty down, and it's been nice to have that other voice right there
Yeah.
that can say, "Hey, look, I'm doing it too. We're in it together. Don't just because sometimes that's there's a saying in baseball: the mound is a lonely place, and we're both pitchers,
Okay.
and it can get really lonely out there if you're having a bad go of it that night. And to have somebody, when you get done, say, "Hey, keep your head up. We both got to do it." And it's just been a blessing, really. And we kind of help each other out.
That's
If
good.
we see something that's not quite right or whatever, we're both able to say, "Hey, I think this is what's going on," and they're not just making it up because they also do it.
Yeah.
So
For sure.
yeah.
Now, have you guys ever played each other, like professionally?
No, we have never played against each other. So when I was still with the Phillies and I was in High A in Jersey Shore, Toms River, New Jersey,
Okay.
and he was in Hickory, North Carolina. Our teams were both in the South Atlantic League, but on different sides of the league. And actually, this is a funny story. So umpires travel around just like in the big leagues. They might be here one week and they go umpire another series the next week or whatever. Well, there's a guy, I think his name is Hector. He's one of the umpires. And I had just got called up to High. This is a long time ago now. And Grant had been in that league already for a few months. Well, he had just umpired for Hickory the week before.
Okay.
And so I come into a game, and they come in, the umpire texts you and says, "All right, make sure you don't have any stuff on your hand that could, you can use to mess with the ball or anything like that." Well, then I start warming up on the mound, and you only get a certain amount of time to get your warm-up pitches in. Well, I'm warming up on the mound, and I just feel somebody, like, right next to me. So I turn, and he's sitting on the mound, and he's just staring at me, like, with this weird look on his face. And I wear glasses, my brother doesn't.
Okay.
And which I would have thought would have been a sign right away. But he goes, "Anderson?" And I said, "Yes, sir." I was thinking, does he think I have something? Does he think something's going on?
Yeah.
And he said, "Did you get traded?" And this is in the middle of a game. Like, I'm trying to warm up. I got my time's running down. He said, "Did you get traded?" I said, "No, sir. I've been with the Phillies since I got in pro ball." And he said, "Who are you?" I said, "I'm Aidan Anderson. That's my name." And he said, do you have a brother that's with the Hickory Crawdads?" And I said, "Yes, I do. That's my twin brother." And he says, "Oh my God, I thought I was going crazy." And mind you, like I said, I'm getting down to where like I don't have hardly any time left.
Yeah.
And I said, "Yes, sir, it is. But do you mind if I finish warming up?" He said, "Yeah, go ahead." But he just was. I mean, and that's happened actually multiple times now. But that was the first time it ever happened.
Yeah.
And then I got released by the Phillies in the off season between the 2022 season and the 2023 season, and then I signed with the Rangers where my brother was at.
Okay.
And when I got to spring training, everybody in the organization knew Grant. Well, they didn't know that they had signed his twin brother. So the first month of me being there was people coming up to me and saying, "Oh, Grant, what's up?" Or, "Hey, when did you get glasses?" And I'd have to sit there and explain to them, "I'm not Grant.
Yeah.
We're twin brothers. I just signed here." I even had a coach come up to me that I didn't know yet at the time, take my hat off my head, and ask me, he said, "Who are you?" And I said, "I'm Aidan Anderson." He said, "No, you're not." I said, "Yes, I am." And because he thought that the other coaches were playing a joke on him. And I said, "Yes, sir, I am." And then Grant happens to come around the corner with a different coach, and he was like, "Oh my gosh, this is crazy!" Like, and they all just, like I said, it's one of them things that me and him don't ever think about it because,
yeah.
I mean, I've been a twin my whole life. That's all I know.
Exactly.
But then people, like you said, in baseball, it's so rare that it's almost like they think it's like not real. It's not a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
And this past year in AAA, he had got sent down from the big league, so we were on the same AAA team together, and that was really cool because my parents, one, they could make one trip instead of two separate trips. But
yeah,
we had our families here and everything like that. And we got to pitch. He pitched the 8th inning of a game, and then I pitched the 9th inning of the same game. And
that's cool.
As far as I know, that was the only time in the Texas Rangers minor league history that they had two twins pitch consecutively in a game. And so it was pretty cool. Like I said, the journey has been really fun, and it's been really cool just to experience it with him. And also, both of our wives are named Kristen. We get a lot of laughs at that one.
Yeah.
It was unintentional, of course.
Oh, of course. Like who purposely would do that? But it just helps add to the confusion.
Yeah, yes, it does.
That's too funny. Conkeys Outdoors is proud to be a sponsor of Tree Talking Time. Family, hunting, tradition is the Conkeys motto. They understand the importance of passing down the tradition of hound hunting. They are a family-owned business that treats you like family. They also understand the importance of having the gear you need when you need it. Conkeys carries everything for your next hunt, and it ships to your door quick. They also offer great warranties on all tracking systems and financing options. Check them out at conkeys.com. You can also use the code TreeTalkingTime5 in all caps to save as well. So, with all that said about the baseball, you get to coon hunt for 3 to 4 months a year, depending on kind of what's going on.
Yeah.
But, so who keeps? How do you keep dogs, and does somebody else hunt them the rest of the year, or do you take dogs with you when you're on the road, or?
So we, my dad, like I said, he's been a coon hunter forever. He actually still keeps a couple coon dogs.
Okay.
We do most of the hunting of them whenever we're home. But my older brother, so he's a head coach for a baseball team at one of the high schools in the area. Mm-hmm. But he takes them out and hunts them for us while we're gone.
Okay.
And but my dad will keep mine, and then our older brother will keep Grant.
Gotcha.
And that's kind of how we do it right now. And I have a couple buddies down here that, if I say my older brother is in a pinch, or, he can't go for a week or something like that, I can call one of them and they'll go pick them up and hunt them for us.
Nice.
So that's kind of like, it's just one of those things that comes with the territory, and it kind of sucks. Like whenever, say I'm kind of in the same boat right now, but say I start a dog and then I finally get them treeing. It's happened every time so far. I finally get them treeing and going. Well, then it happens to be this time of year right when I'm about to leave.
Yeah.
And few years back, I did that, and my brother couldn't hunt them for me that summer. He ended up having to work more and stuff like that. And that dog essentially set up for 6 months right when I got him treeing coons and going out and hunting on his own, and then I get back home, and it was basically like starting all over again, you know. And it can get frustrating at times, but like I said, I'm lucky enough now. Our brother and some of my friends have been able to step in and help me out a little more now, and it's a little easier, I guess. You know, kind of keep them in shape while we're gone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's not a problem most people I would assume have. There's not too many. I think, like you said in the beginning, there's not too many people playing professional sports that are coon hunters. So.
No, the only other one I know is my brother.
Yeah.
So as far as professional baseball goes, now I'll meet guys, and to me it's kind of sad because, you know, when I was growing up, you know, my dad had several buddies and friends and stuff we would go coon hunt with, and we'll meet guys that are, you know, like Tennessee or Arkansas, places like that we play with. But they say, "Oh yeah, my grandpa used to coon hunt, or my uncle used to coon hunt, or my daddy used to coon hunt." But then they don't coon hunt themselves. You know, it's like kind of that it stopped. And you know, to me, like I said, I'm big on history, and I'm also I've been coon hunting since I was a child, and it's just something that to me, I don't understand how guys can go when they're younger and not get addicted to it. But you know, and it sucks to me to see that the generations have stopped doing it, you know, and like me, so when I'm home in the off season, I train high school age, middle school age baseball players, and I always invite them on a coon hunt, always.
That's awesome.
And you know, and I've gotten several of them that go, and then the next thing you know, they're texting me, or their dad is texting me. He's saying, "Hey, Bobby over here wants to know when you're going coon hunting again. Can he go?" And to me, I wish everybody did that. I know over the years, some of the competition guys, they get so focused on just that aspect of it, and I wish that people would take a second and just take somebody pleasure hunting. You know, where there's no rush, there's no I got to do this. You know, it's got to be this way, whatever.
Yeah.
And let them experience it. And something I found out is even a bunch of these kids that I take, they might deer hunt with their dad or their grandpa or somebody, but they've never been in the woods at nighttime. And several of them, you know, I catch them, they're looking up and they say, "Man, I never noticed stars like that." You know, and it's stuff like that.
Yeah.
Not to get too romantic about it, but it's just something that, to me, like, that's the beauty of it. That's what makes it, you know, so addicting. You get out there and you get to hear those dogs. It's quiet. You know, there's not cars around. Hopefully, you're not going to a highway. But, you know, and they get to see stuff. You get to see critters at night you might not normally see.
Sure.
You know, and to me, that's the fun in it. Getting to take somebody, and like my older brother, he has a 8-year-old boy, my nephew Carter, and he's been coming with us since he was like 5, since he's old enough to walk well enough to keep up with us, you know. And he's addicted to it now. He wants to go every chance he gets. He wants to go out there and go coon hunting, you know. And then my sister's little boy, he's 5. He's about to start going with us. Probably this next off season coming up, he'll probably go a lot more. And he wants to go all the time. And my wife, or my niece, my 2 nieces on my wife's side, I take them one time, and now they don't shut up about it, which is great. You know, I love it, and I'll bring them, you know, as much as I possibly can. Some places I don't bring them just because, you know, the conditions are a little harder on kids, like that. But
now I've got like, I have a farm. If I'm going to take my kids, a lot of times I can take them to this one particular farm because it's kind of like they've got some 4-wheeler trails, and it just makes it super easy because my kids are young. My oldest is 8, and my youngest is 4, so they're kind of right there in that. You know, the 8-year-old's been some other places, but the 4-year-old, it's pretty much, we take him to the easy place.
Yeah, and to me, that's the best way, I think, to grow it again. I know we've run to this place here in America where it seems like the big cities are getting bigger and the little small towns are getting smaller, because the big cities are growing so much, you know, and our people want live somewhere, so you're building a subdivision right there where, well, that's a spot where I used to hunt at or something like that.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so I know that plays a role in it as well. Just you got to have space for enough people to be able to hunt it. But I do think that the more kids that we bring out and the more youth that we get involved in it, the bigger it can get, and then you'll have that tradition keep on going.
Yeah.
And that's something that's really big to me. I don't know that everybody feels the same way about it, but for sure that to me that's the beauty of it.
Yeah. No, I agree 100%. So what kind of dogs you got you running?
Right now, I have a 2-year-old black and tan male named Iron Man.
Okay.
That's the only one that's mine that I have. My twin brother, he has a 6-year-old Walker female named Liz and an 8-month-old black and tan pup named Slim, and then my older brother has a 3-year-old Walker male named Runner.
Okay.
My nephew named him. And anyways, we grew up hunting only Walker dogs. We hunted dogs out of a man named David Morgan. His line of dogs, Nichols Creek Walker dogs. A lot of people might recognize his name. He owns Laser Torch Lights.
Okay.
The headlamps. And anyways, him and my dad have been friends for 40 years or so. And we always go to him. Like, if you need a light, we go to him. And if he needed a puppy, he's more than likely had one. Right now, he is actually down to one female puppy. He's trying to get his line. He's trying to get some more of his stuff back. But he hasn't had it lined up right. But anyways, that's the dogs we hunted growing up were his Nichols Creek Walker dogs. And when we got out of coon hunting for a little bit whenever we got into around high school age, just because of the baseball travel. And see, our older brother is not that much older than us, so he was playing travel baseball, and me and my twin brother Grant were playing travel baseball.
Oh yeah.
Our sister did dance and all that kind of stuff like that, and
your
parents
were
just
busy.
a lot. Yeah, and like I said, we grew up on a goat farm, and we used to show goats and stuff like that, and that slowed down too, and so it really kind of took over for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we got to college, I used to, when we were in high school though, we'd always ask our dad, like, hey, when are you going to get another coon dog? When are you going to get another coon dog? And he just, would say, we don't got time for it, and so we were out of it for a little bit. And then I got to college, and in baseball, it works that if you go to a Division I school, you can't get drafted until you're a junior.
Okay.
Well, our junior year rolls around, and my brother Grant got drafted, and I didn't. So I was coming back for a senior year. And when you go back as a senior, you really don't have much leverage as far as the draft goes. So even if you have a great year, they might draft you, but probably not any money. And it's just not as guaranteed, because in the world of professional sports, all of them, the younger you are, the more appealing it is, the better it is. So, and I was a 21-year-old senior, and unfortunately, it's kind of weird, because if you're a junior, you're not that old at 20, but if you're a senior at 21, you're kind of like past your prime as far as getting selected in the draft goes.
Which is just crazy.
It is crazy. It once you get into it, you see how the business of it is so strange. But for me, I was kind of like, well, it's not guaranteed, and I could end up being, working a job instead of playing baseball here at the end of my college season.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get a coon dog. Well, we had been out of it for a while, and I didn't realize that coon hound prices had gone up. So, and I'm a broke 21-year-old college kid. Well, I'm sitting there talking about it, and I actually have to give a little credit too to I don't know if you know him, but he goes by the Kentucky Cooner, Mr. Cody.
Yeah.
I was watching his videos because I had a teammate. We were talking about coon hunting, and he said, "I've never even heard of that. What is that?" I said, "Let me look on YouTube. There's bound to be a YouTube video of it." And so I found his videos that he was doing back then, and I started watching them like every night. And I said, "Man, I gotta get a coon dog. I can't believe, I don't have one." So, anyways, well, we're in the locker room one day, and we're talking about coon hunting, and a buddy of mine, which odd enough, at McNeese there was another set of twins, and one of those twins said he saw me looking at some coon dogs on there. He said, "Hey, my cousin has dogs like that." And I said, "Like these dogs right here?" I was looking at Walker dogs. And he said, "Yeah." He said, "But he don't hunt raccoons with them. He hunts like coyotes and stuff like that." And I said, "Oh, he got running walkers." And I said, "Well, I'm desperate, and if he's got a puppy, I'd like to have one. Maybe I can, get it to tree." So I got a puppy out of him, and unfortunately, whenever that dog was getting to where I could get him out to the woods, he ended up passing away. Something happened. I wasn't really sure what happened. Just one of those things, if you hunt dogs long enough, that it'll happen sometime. But then another teammate, after I'm out of college at this point, calls me and says, "Hey, I forgot to mention my grandpa has bred blue tick coon hounds my entire life." Now, how I played 3 years with this guy, he never mentioned this. I have no idea. But anyways, so, and I had never hunted anything but Walker dogs, but like I said, and he was going to sell them for $300. And that was out of Mr. Harry Darby's tree thumping dogs.
Okay.
And so I went and got one of those for $300, and that was that Savage dog I was telling you about. And so then I started him and hunted him, and ended up selling him or giving him to one of my dad's friends to hunt because I had to go to baseball, and he liked him so much I let him have him, and I got me something else. But we ended up getting a black and tan dog named Jack, and I just love that dog. He was amazing. And like I said, we don't competition hunt. We eat raccoon. I don't know, a lot of people don't, but we do.
Okay.
And so he was great for that. And we just had a lot of fun with him, and that's when my nephew started hunting behind him, and he loved it. And my dad, odd enough, had a Walker dog, Finley River dog, also named Jack. So we had two Jacks, and we hunted them all the time, and that's kind of how we got back going into coon hunting. Yeah.
Well, you mentioned you eat raccoon. Then I personally have never. So what's your favorite way to cook a raccoon?
Well, the only way that I'd ever eaten it up until 2 days ago was my dad. He would slow cook it almost like a roast in the oven with like sweet potatoes, and he has a recipe that he got from his aunt way back in 19 whatever, and that's the only way we'd ever eaten it. And he kind of makes like a sweet glaze that goes on top of it, and it's pretty good. But I started looking online and seeing guys that eat it different ways, So a couple of nights ago, I actually put one on a pit and cooked it that way, and it was really good. I mean, I cooked it just like I eat barbecue, any other type of meat. One thing we always do is we boil it for a while before we take it out and season it and all that, and then cook it however you want to cook it.
Okay.
To be honest with you, I have no clue why people do that, but that's just what everybody around here does. So that's what I do. And so like I said, that was the only other way I've ever had it. So I've had it 2 ways now, and I'm gonna try some other ways too, just because I want to try different things. I see some people like it, fry them, and some people do them like a roast, but like differently than my dad does it. So I'm gonna try and experiment a little different ways.
There you go.
Yeah, and down here in this part of the country, there's a decent amount of people that still eat them.
Okay.
So, like a bunch of my mama's family still eats them. So we get a lot of calls, from family like, "Hey, if you got one and you got an extra one, we'll take it." So
that's
and then
interesting. Like I said, I don't know anybody locally that coon hunts that eats any. I know of a few people that do, but not many.
Well, the weird thing about it is that all the coon hunters I know don't eat them.
Mm-hmm.
They just they have a family member or a friend or somebody that does, so they just give them to them. And so it's kind of one of those weird things where, like, you think that you hunt it, and as many people that eat them around here, that people that hunt them would be the ones that are eating them, but it's really not. It's mostly just other people that grew up eating it, and they know somebody that coon hunt, so they get them from them.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. Well, I just recently saw your family kind of has a new venture going. You want to talk about that?
Yeah. So me and my siblings just kind of started a little, I don't even know what you call it, I guess a little business or whatever, but it's Coon Branch Outdoors, and we got hats and hoodies and stuff like that. And but really our big thing is, because we got a YouTube channel we just set up and Instagram page and stuff, we want to kind of showcase the fun and the beauty of coon hunting, and and just get it out to more people. I think it's one of those things now, like I mentioned earlier, you meet somebody and you say I coon hunt, and they say, people do that, whereas 40, 50 years ago, probably less than that even, it was way more common. And people were it was just a bigger sport. I hate calling it a sport, but it was a bigger part of the culture.
Oh yeah.
And we don't want it to be lost on anybody. I want my daughter to be able to coon hunt like my nephews do, and my twin brother's boy Lennox, I want him to coon hunt, and then their kids to coon hunt, and hopefully, and a big part of this too for me, I can't speak for my three siblings, but for me personally, thankfully there's plenty of like public land right now, but with the pressure, unfortunately, from outside places and people that kind of want to do away with that, to us, that's my culture. You know what I mean? So I don't want that to be impeded on, and I feel like the more people that we can get to understand that it's not some terrible thing, it's something that's, people have done this since the late 1700s in America.
Yeah.
And so to me, it's a legacy thing, not just for my family, but for America, really. And it's one of the, not to get too historical here, but it's one of the oldest forms of hunting that people have done in this country, is hunting behind a hound dog.
Oh, for sure.
And it's not just coons. We don't have bear in this part of the country. They've kind of started to reintroduce them and stuff like that. But you got bear hunting. Davy Crockett had bear dogs. They say George Washington. Every different hound hunter claims he had the first, deer dog, coon dog, bear dog, whatever. But it is known that he did have some sort of hound. So like we're talking about the first president of the United States. And it's to us, it's a way of life. It's something that we, like I said, we're all addicted to it, and we try to do our best to showcase the best stuff about it, the best parts of having your family out in the woods together, experiencing the outdoors, and not seeing a kid on an iPad 24 hours a day. It's I personally believe it's something that's good for them. They get the experience of being out in nature, and they love these dogs like they're a member of the family. Only thing is, they always want you to buy another one. So,
on that note, so my son got a puppy last year, my 8-year-old.
Okay.
Right after Christmas, we went on a bear hunt and hunted with a good friend of mine, and he had some pups, and we brought one home. She is a year old. She turned a year old in October. Guess what he asked for Christmas this year?
Another dog?
Another puppy. And I'm like, dude, you got a 1-year-old dog out there in the pen. What are you talking about? You don't need another one. We need to hunt the one you got.
Yeah. So, that's how they are. My sister's little boy, he's asking about when can y'all get another one? Because he wants one that's just his. And anyways, and then my older brothers, they have a dog. I got that dog at the Winter Classic in 2015, 22 maybe.
Okay.
And I guess, yeah, that'd be 3. Yeah. So 22. And a friend of mine, Mr. Ronnie Stark, he was over there helping the Timber Creek guys. And he had a litter of puppies on the ground. And he said, I'll give you one. And I said, all right, I'll take one. But I said, but if you're going to give it to me, I'll get the last pick. I'll let everybody else that's out here, if they're going to give you money for it. He's a good friend of mine.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, these guys are going to pay for, because there was little kids out there wanting their first dog with their dad and something like that. I said, you know what, whatever's left, I'll take it.
Yeah.
So that's how we ended up with that one.
Nice.
Runner is his name. And that's technically, I gave it to my nephew, but anyways, it's my brother and my nephew's dog. And he come up the other day, Carter, my older nephew, and he says, hey, can you find me another dog? I said, what? I said, you got a dog right there, Tree Food. What are you talking about? And he said, yeah, but we could always use another one. I said, well, ask your dad if he wants to buy, double the feed and all that.
Yeah.
But I like that they enjoy it and that they love it so much, and that's, like I said, that's kind of our goal in it, is to showcase what coon hunting actually is and what hunting in general is, and how much of a family thing it can be,
I think it's awesome that your whole family basically coon hunts.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm not saying that's completely unheard of, but
no, yeah,
it's not nearly as common as it probably once was.
No, yeah, not at least in this part of the country, is not hardly anybody that's like that. And like I said, our dad, he's a great, I guess, brainwasher, because he would take us when we were so young that you just thought that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
and then it just becomes a part of what you do. It just becomes a part of you, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, those years where we were out of it sucked, because you just miss it so much. Like I said, some of my first memories hunting, I don't remember going deer hunting at all when I was little bitty. I just always remember going on those coon hunts. And and like I said, it wasn't like we were we were just going on pleasure hunts with my dad and a couple of his friends, and they might be working on a puppy or whatever, but to us, we just enjoyed it so much. And back then, my dad don't like to spend money on nothing, so he bought 2 lights, one for him and one for whichever of the oldest siblings was on the hunt. And I'll never forget, the first time he took me and Grant, we were maybe like 5 or 6, something like that. He set us on the tailgate and said, all right. And my dad's a big guy, 6'5", 275 pounds, big, long legs, college basketball player. And he says to some children, he says, if you can't keep up, that's on you. So make sure you keep up.
That's funny.
And when he's that big and you're a little bitty, I thought he was 8 foot tall, Yeah. So, but what he would do, that's when they had them big belt lights, And he'd be up there, dogs be treated, he'd wait, 10, 20 minutes, whatever it was, and then he don't say, all right, we're going. He just starts walking. Well, my older siblings had caught on by that point. My older brother is almost 5 years older than us. My older sister, she's 8 years older than us. And so they knew when Daddy starts walking, you just walk. You don't ask no questions, you just walk. Well, me and Grant, we're sitting here, twiddling our thumbs, and we look, and our older brother or sister, whichever one it was, they would go, because they had the light, and we didn't. So they would just try to keep just enough close to where they could see our dad, and they turn around and sign for a few seconds. And they turn around, walk up, try to catch up, turn around, shine the light, let us keep coming a little bit.
Yeah.
And basically that's how we did it until we got to the tree. And but we loved it. Like I said, we didn't think nothing of it. We just were like, okay, we got to follow this or got to follow Zane, which, because you ain't gonna follow Dad. He's gonna be a mile away, and they're gonna be our help. But one thing he made sure we knew how to do. This is before GPS and stuff. We knew how to read a map and knew how to read a compass. That was like his conditions whenever you go into the woods. Back, like I said, we didn't have like GPS on the phone and in the car and all stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so he taught us how to read a compass. And before we go in there, you get your reading and you find your, which way is out, what degree is out, then you know where to go. And that's something we still do now. Like even when we got back into coon hunting, I didn't know tracking collars. Like I said, we had been out for a while, so I didn't know tracking collars had gotten so advanced.
Yeah.
So when we first started back, like I said, I was a broke 21-year-old kid just out of college, and I didn't have no tracking system, so we just did that way. And then eventually, I met one of my buddies, his buddy now, and he told me, "Why don't you get a tracking system?" And I said, "What do you mean? Isn't this how everybody still does it?" And he's like, "No, heck no." He said,
No one does it that way.
No, literally, no one does like that anymore. But we didn't know that. We, like I said, we had been out for like 6-7 years, and my dad had always done it that way. I do remember one of his friends had one of them big old, that big antenna. Basically, it took up half your truck if you left it, folded out.
Yep.
And it would just beep, beep, and that was the only tracking system I had ever known. So I was thinking, oh, what they do, make the antenna smaller? I didn't know what it was going to be like. So eventually, I got the Dogtra, because it was a little cheaper, and I didn't have that much money to spend.
Yeah.
And but up until then, that was only maybe 4 years ago now that I got that. We just did it the old-fashioned way. Stay close enough to hear them and get your compass reading and get ready for a long walk.
That is a skill I would say even most coon hunters don't even have these days.
Yeah, and
compass. And I am guilty. I couldn't read a compass to save my life.
Oh, wow. See, and like I said, even though we have the tracking system now, typically it's my older brother, but one of us will always make sure we get a compass reading before, because I don't, especially when we have the Dogtra, it runs off your phone.
Mm-hmm.
Well, heck, if I drop my phone in the creek, it ain't gonna tell me where the truck is no more. So but we still do it. And down here where we're at, it's very much like Southeast Texas is very similar as far as terrain as like South Louisiana.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of wet places you go, and you can get in a swamp very fast. Even if you're in some hardwoods, there's bound to be a swamp in there somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And like where we live at is only 16 feet elevation. So, and we get a lot of rain. So, you're talking about water everywhere. So for us, we still do it partly because I treat it as a necessity. You gotta have it. And like I said, there's been times where, like the story I told at the beginning, several times where I'm like chest deep in water crossing it, and it's dangerous. But the way I see it, that I think it's fun. But me and my brothers do. But my thing is, if the dog is going to work that hard to get a coon treed, then I need to work just as hard to make sure I can get there to him.
Yeah.
And to me, that's the partnership aspect of it. And if we don't have a compass, there are some people I've met that claim that they can use the stars. I met Mr. Brent Reeves he does the bear grease stuff.
Yep.
And I went coon hunting with him in Arkansas right before Christmas, and he actually can do it. That is a skill I have not yet acquired, but the compass we're good with. So I've always made sure to use a compass, read a map, and that's stuff that even outside of baseball, I don't know when I would need it, but I'm grateful that my dad taught us how to do it, because now I know how to do it.
Yeah.
And I won't, you don't lose it,
Exactly. Well, you got any more good stories for us?
I do. I have a few of them, yeah.
Yeah.
So speaking of going to Arkansas, me and Grant had a teammate. He's now with the Detroit Tigers. His name is Nick Starr. Great friend of ours. So in 22, him and Grant were in AA Frisco with the Texas Rangers, and he's a guy. He deer hunts, duck hunts, all that stuff. Had never been coon hunting, and he's in Arkansas, where, as Mr. Reeves says, you can't swing a dead cat and not hit a coon hunter in Arkansas. But he had never gone before. Well, his family has a farm, almost 50,000 acres, that has been in their family since prior to the Civil War.
Wow.
And it's right on the Arkansas River. I mean, it's a beautiful, beautiful place. Well, in 2022, him and Grant got to chatting in the bullpen during a game about hunting, whatnot, and stuff. And he says, "Hey, I've never been coon hunting. Why don't y'all come up to Arkansas, spend a few nights at our place, and we can hunt. We can coon hunt our place. It's full of coons. The biggest gripe of all time for any deer hunter is coons eating their feed.
Yeah.
And at least in this part of the country where you can put corn out and stuff like that. And so, and their turkey population had dropped as their coon population. They noticed had gotten bigger, and so I told him, and Grant told me, so I don't know how big a hurting we'll do on them as far as keeping the turkeys, but we'll definitely come up there and hunt. Well, that year it didn't happen. That's when I was in Reading. They were in Frisco, and so my Grant went and played winter ball in Puerto Rico. So, and I didn't know Nick at the time, so we didn't go. Well, the next year, I was in AA with the Rangers in Frisco. Nick was also there. Grant had got to AAA, and then eventually made his debut that year. And Nick was telling me, he said, "Man," after we got to know each other, he said, "Man, your brother said y'all were going to come to Arkansas and hunt. Why didn't y'all come?" And I said, "Well, he was in Puerto Rico, and I didn't even know you." So
yeah.
That's part of the reason why. Well, he said, "Well, this off season, y'all are coming up there. I'm not going to take no for an answer. I want to go coon hunting. I've never been." And obviously, knowing how I am, and Grant is too, I'm never going to deny a guy, that wants to go that bad. So we made it happen. So we loaded up our dogs and a buddy of mine's dog named Ugly. That is, he's great. I mean, he's older now. He's about 12 now, or no, excuse me, 11. But he's a really, really fine dog. And we load all the dogs up. We go to Arkansas, wanting to show these guys, and he invited a bunch of his friends to come out because they'd never gone coon hunting either. Well, we get to the first night, hunt till like 1 a.m, didn't see a single coon. And if you've ever showed somebody coon hunting, you want to make sure they see a coon.
Yep.
And I'm telling you right now, I've said some good prayers in my life, but that night I might have said the best prayer I've ever said in my entire life. I was asking, "Please, Lord, let us see some coons tomorrow," because we were only staying for 2 nights. It was kind of like last minute, so we only stayed for 2 nights. The next night, we go out there and we treat 12 coons like it's like one after another. Boom, boom, boom. Had a great night, and they got to see coon hunting. And now Nick has fallen in love with it and wanted us to come back. So we came back this year again. We treated 22 in 3 nights. Still didn't, and he's keeping track. He's like, "Well, our one night total, our best is 12. We got to get 13." And he's setting over under. He's putting that money lines on it, basically, like just messing around. But he's like, "What's the over for tonight?" And we just had a great time. But man, you talk about sweating. I was like, "Dang, they're gonna think we don't know what we're talking about. We ain't seen a coon all night." And like I said, we took some dogs that I knew, like, hey, they don't miss very often, so like we're gonna see one, and we didn't. So that was that one right there. I was wiping the sweat off my brow the next night, thanking God, because I said, man, I was so worried we weren't gonna see me and Grant and Zane, all 3 of us. We were sitting there talking after that next morning, like, man, this ain't looking good. We gotta do something. I don't care if we gotta start training them ourselves. we gotta see some coons tonight. And thankfully we did. So we had a blast. And then this past year when we went back, I took a long shot and messaged Mr. Reeves on Instagram, just seeing if because I knew from his watching his or listening to his show and stuff like that he lived not far from there.
Yeah.
And so I messaged him, and he was like, "I'd love to come hunt with you guys." And they came out, and we had another good hunt. He came the last night. We stayed 3 nights this year.
Cool.
And they came with him and Mr. Michael Roslin. He owns a light company as well.
Yep.
And they came and hunted with us, and it was a blast. And again, to me, that's the best part. We have, I think that last night it was like 10 of us out there. And just having a good time, there was no time limit and all that kind of stuff like that. Nobody keeping score, it was just getting to see dogs hunt and do what they were bred to do and what they enjoy to do. And it was a blast. We had a good time.
Sounds like it. I went to Arkansas this year in December for the first time this year, and it's beautiful down there.
Oh yeah, it is, man. It's a little different. Like I said, we hunt a different terrain, and we got up there, and there's a little hilly and but I like that, seeing different places. Me and Grant, our goal before the good Lord calls us home, I want to hunt in as many different states. I want to coon hunt in as many different states as I can, just to see what it's like out there. I've heard stories about you go to West Virginia and you're walking pretty much straight up in the air, get to a dog that's freed, stuff like that. And I personally want to experience it. So anybody out there that's listening, if you want to invite somebody to come coon hunting, you can always call me and we'll make a trip, because that's something that I really try to do. And like I said, I was very disappointed when I was in Reading and we didn't get to hook up and go out there, because I really wanted to see what it was like out there.
I think I sent you a message I don't know, in August or something like that, right before, and then then after that is when you went back to Texas and never came back.
Yeah.
You said, forget this Pennsylvania nonsense up here. These Amish buggies.
No, I enjoyed it up there. But yeah, like I said, I really was upset I didn't get to go. And my dad, actually, when you messaged me, my dad and my mom had come up, and like I said, he's a coon hunter. And I told him, I said, hey, he wants us to come out there and hunt, blah, blah. I said, I want to do it, but baseball and all that stuff, it just didn't line up right. And, but maybe we can get together and we can come up there and coon hunt.
Yeah. If you're ever back up this way.
Oh yeah. I always tell people, don't tell me to call you, because I will call you when I'm in town and see if you want to go hunting.
Heck yeah. Like I said, you kind of know where the corner of this country out where I'm at. So if you're ever up this way, you give me a holler.
Yes, sir.
So, well, you got anything else?
No. I mean, I could talk for forever, but no. Thank you for having me on, and
my pleasure.
Look forward to listening to it and sharing it with my family. My family's all sitting out there, super excited. They want to listen and all that stuff like that. So I'm surprised they're not outside the door right now trying to listen.
Well, good. I hope they enjoy it. I appreciate you coming on. This has been a lot of fun. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
You can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Tree Talking Media. And until next time, keep them talking in the timber.